for our bad, you mock about daily update TV no message and then about channel so no hit out man no subscribe or same drop in latest news to be a obejebre now say to me I can be na ye jebra bora and 7 mam beka ya eno da na US court ebu asemi bu akene Agyapong yes they $80 million the tone so ontuama anas areme ya oni nyina for defamation na for pe nsema ye tete no mse papa no ho ya ka adwamu ya nyane tie se no lawyers no plead se omuse kubium se court no enti sika no so na 8 million de anwo de papa na me pese ye gibre na ye borom ni tie nsem ni bi kene Agyapong kame se ne ho ya ka adwama ni wo ho aye mobo na ye monwro ye ba de ka ho bi edi mu nsem bebram
nti ye beda se say ye ko ye enima enchaye ana say ye nimansama ekoso between investigative journalist aye freno anas arome yaw anas only the former member of parliament ma Asin Central honorable Kennedy Agyapong ye nim say ensem beef bi oha honorable Kennedy Agyapong okano anasaka Ghana had them so mebuama nsem ni no mubogu but anas ka say o me mentiase enti me de beko abrochi memu na mekoso ho bia no mahwe so say ho so judgment no ebetumi aboame anase emboame na make say enra say ye hu video e call so how na court proceedings ni na akoso court ni meka ho ye hu so honorable Agyapong em say na mframa ebo ne pa me so kra de ne ma no or say mama mfa nsu kwanchema test na ensemi na ekobe nyina no make say anas arome ya onas or investigative journalist na miadom say ensemi na mubu aye no ade a wedding kunim enti make say the honorable Kennedy Agyapong wedi for ya bonika $18 million $18 million yenya ntiese make say judges no cry pray say ombetumi atisika no so ntremu na ewo ho no count against Ken allegation anas is a criminal honorable Kennedy Agyapong katre say anas so oye criminal nti ono no emu ba kono no nsema ode bo no biom oka say anas no ku yenua ametswale yenim say ametswale ne anas team no tiger eye no mu ye adwuma yekunia ya honorable Kennedy Agyapong on the national TV on one television so tena so e kan say monhwe sa branti mahuno wo be hu ne bia na mo hu ne wo premises a mo mbono pa anche na yeku ameswali madina mpotemu ho enti sa asem no so no ku no enu ka ho bi ansa na o say anas so you responsible for ye nuanom Chinese phobia no so mu be pie mo mama yekuku omo Chinese nationals bi omo wu oman mu no anas ka ho bi o hye bi o sando to anas so anas ye ripa o say anas ewimu awi nti eno no emu nsem no ansa na nniama horo akoso o chese nipakum bi ekukusu a anas yobi odi makotene pa nti why ensam inuma anas de koto court ni nim ma eba se o say honorable Kennedy Agyapong so omoto nsa friend no beyi na no na we na pu abo honorable Kennedy Agyapong nti make us say there say $18 million US dollars you say ontia enti ye hwe medaho ya so sumitue ya $30 million US dollars in the total damages no but $5 million mienu a chese ya grant no the actual damages ni presumed damages no on a granted inti ni na no dia $5 million and son $8 million so a ka ho instead of $10 million no so about $8 million inti ye ni na boma $18 million hufia odigu anase ne meka ho no $18 million US dollars matse honorable Kennedy Agyapong lawyers presse omehena omate so ba isi ade $18 million kosi broni court de yenye ne senye Ghana city so $18 million na ye de ato honorable Kennedy Agyapong for wedi for insesi form nti asem no ma epiem no nti sendra woten mu asem a anas chese wagu ne ho fi ogu ne ho ani mase wonsem bi okato no so a kopiem abrochi me mu na de Ghana ha de enim sensem no kokot mo boni na agui bra kwesi broni de oso o mahwehwem na mehuma eko nti ni nyina no akwedu a omode aye we ni nti honorable Kennedy Agyapong ho fi ogu ye no ho nsem na no so aba ya church mu ma mo so motumi ehu bi na eko no ha adwene yi papa se sia no we ma nsem bi ho a wo ka egu bi ho fu a na wahwe nti wo hwe video na wo hwe hawa niam eko no na ye church mu no after nsem ni na etumi aba nti court no mo a mo hwe TV no de wo behu abra obi mansu US of A nti judge no na o pronounce ensem no na o cheche no we odi tu dwa no nti say wa wo hwe television no court no ni phone ni bi na ye no but for the benefit of ye nuanom o mutie radio no na say metumi mo musu nchiem na omusu ehu na omuhu ma eko nti say ensem nti make us say the mama yenkonkotie asema judge no or the two dwa wa make a court ho
Judge, in our initial finding, we awarded $18 million and a breakdown, presuming $5 million, actual $5 million, and punitive $8 million. With your verdict and your note, your jury service in this case is complete. I truly have enjoyed working with you. You've been
a judge na o pronounce judgment no mode kwaduni na it is honorable Kennedy Agyapong ye bunu for one some kind na no evidence paper bia to show broni court so de ono no or the evidence na you technicalities nsem ne yenka ne bia sa nti eno na omode atodwa amunsem na eba no say how a sound in tenancy ye hu ne ye obehu honorable Kennedy Agyapong na ogina ho no we de court ne ka say anas mfa ne nim mbro nti wo hwe television na wo behu say anas no ogina ho na ne sesi pon no so a ne lawyer gina ne nchen honorable Kennedy Agyapong so lawyer no ye bruni a we fold in the arms no nunua honorable Kennedy Agyapong nunua ye na chiriba na okopre bantuma konyo Lucy ono so ye lawyer ni ogina ne brother che okọ supporting ne brother no nti emu asem no se wo hwe television na eno na eda TV no so a no so ye hunu ha no nti eno no ekọ so ndra nti sesi ade honorable Kennedy Agyapong $18 million we go anas hu fi wa kan sema enim de ato anas so we ne sema ama say wote say honorable Kennedy Agyapong ye twa no $18 million and no say be ma yembre twa honorable Kennedy Agyapong o hwe broni judge ne nim obi man shi US of A abrofo de unka kan sem bia mbo wasa on meka say say ade mcha menya ne sem say no lawyers ne press chesika no eso betumi atekakra nti ensema abano no okay ye hu court nsema ne ye to aso de a ye beka akohwe Suleiman Yusuf or a spokesperson the ma anas na yenkotie the details of the court judgment on the way forward a ba sem no ho nti yenkohwe Suleiman Yusuf no so nsema de tuda.
A source of joy for all media men in Ghana. Anas has shown the way that even if justice is delayed, one day the wheels of justice will grind, and then those who deserve it are going to get it. So this is very special, happy moments for us, and we are happy to share this across the Ghanaian society, especially for those who have suffered various kinds of attacks and paid various kinds of attacks and retributions for fighting corruption. So we are happy, and the team is excited about this victory. We knew it. We knew it. All that were said were false. We said those things were false. They persisted in it, and now they got the shock of their lives when we completely dismantled them when we met in a proper forum in the United States. A seminal issue is whether Anas is a criminal, whether Anas is a thief, whether Anas is a blackmailer, whether Anas is a murderer who ought to be hanged. These are the words of Kennedy Agyapong. So for us, the damages and the punitive damage, the damages including the punitive damages, is good to restrain him, as they put it in the words the judge put it in the instructions to the jury. It's a punishment. Some people call it correction. For us, that is good. But then the most important thing is that Anas has been vindicated. His reputation has been restored. The lies, the calumnies that were thrown at him have all been dustbined in the American court, as Kennedy Agyapong failed to prove not a single one of his claims when he was put in the dock. He brought all the evidences that he said he had in Ghana, including who watches the watchman. He brought the judgment delivered by Justice Eric Barr, a judgment of which Justice Kolendi described as a violent abuse of judicial authority. He brought all of that to defend himself in court. A jury of 8 assessed all of those and said that, look, what you brought, there was no evidence, there was no substance in it, and so they returned a verdict of 8-0. So it is his right to appeal. It is his right to ask for remittiture. What he's applying for is what we call remittiture, where you tell the judge that, please, the amount that has been awarded against me is too high. Can you consider bringing the amount down? That is what we call remittiture. He has the right to do all of that. But as it stands now, the verdict is that Kennedy Agyapong was tried in the U.S. for defamation. He was found to be guilty or culpable for defamation, and he was slapped with the damages of $18 million. Let people continue to live in the wonderland. I mean, this is what they said. They said Anas was a criminal and all of that. And I'm happy that they are not saying when we went to court in the U.S. we proved that he was a criminal, but rather they are saying that we asked for mistrial because the jury had exceeded what they call the instructions of the judge by, so after awarding the compensatory damages and the actual damages of $5 million each, the jury went on to apply what they call the punitive damages, which are normally applied in order to warn or as a way of preventing the, in this case, the defendants, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, from doing or from undertaking similar action in future. So we are happy. I want to settle that part very firmly. I want to underscore that firmly. That we are happy that they are not saying we proved that in court, but rather they are saying that the amount was too high, and so we decided. So clearly, it means that all the things that he said against Anas were false. And in the U.S., to prove defamation, the threshold is one of the highest in the world, because the U.S. has much regard for free speech. To prove that somebody has defamed you, you have to prove what we call actual malice. So by this verdict, it means that Kennedy Agyapong was malicious and reckless in his attacks on Anas Arimea Anas. Now, to the issue of mistrial, I mean, you can play the judgment. The judgment is right before you, the video. The judge states clearly that your application for mistrial is denied, and that if you were interested in any other processes, you can file what we call post-trial motions. On that particular day, what they had brought to the judge's notice for ruling was the remittiture, which means that the amount that was awarded against Kennedy Agyapong is too high. Please, can you reduce it? Now, we have gone to court to ask for punitive damages. That is, after the 18 million was awarded, the 18 million had not been disaggregated. So we thought that was the compensatory damages, or that was the presumed damages. So when we went to court, we were going to ask for more. That is, and in the Essex County Court or in the New Jersey, the rule is that if an award is given, the punitive damages has a limit of ×5. So we're going to multiply 18 by 5. And that would have been the damages that Kennedy Agyapong would have been awarded, we would have been instructed to pay. But when we went, the jury, when the judge instructed the jury to go and apply what they call the punitive damages, that is possibly multiplying 18 by 5, the jury came back and they said that, look, we have awarded 18 million, and this is the components. These are the components of the 18 million. It is 5 million for presumed, 5 million for and 8 million for what they call punitive. So that is when Agyapong's lawyers now rose and said, oh, the jury has exceeded its limit and therefore the judge should declare mistrial. And if you play that video, the judge's ruling, the judge goes on to, how do I call it, premise his denial of the mistrial with the breakdown of the damages. And when the judge finished with that, the judge said, your application for mistrial is denied, and that if you're interested in any other thing, you can file what we call post-trial motion. So clearly in that video, I wonder why anybody will believe anything that anyone is saying. When the video, the evidence is right in front of you. This ruling is important because this ruling sets the tone that justice, and this is what Anas puts in his statement, justice must not be the preserve of the powerful. It must be a right to be enjoyed by every single person in Ghana, including the minions, the weak, those who have no connections, right? So this judgment is very important because it's going to send a shock wave throughout our judicial system and to tell them that, hey, you guys or we Ghanaians, we have to sit up and look at our judiciary again. Because how come the same set of facts